Hey guys, my name is Beckett. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be showing you guys how to level your Shade Watch. Whether you're trying to get 1,000 or you're just trying to get that 100 levels really quick so you can get all your rewards from the season pass that I believe is dropping tomorrow. So do not miss that, guys. Calling sick from work, whatever you got to do. So able to do that, I'm going to show you guys multiple ways, different places you can go, so you don't have to do the same thing. Some are faster, some might be a little slower, but at least you can switch it up if you're just getting bored and you're like, I don't want to do this, I just want to log off. It won't take that long though, guys. We're looking at between 4 to 6 hours optimally. It could take longer, so you could do it in 1 to 2 days. If you want to know life, great, you can do it in 1 to 2 days. So let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is where we are base operation, we're going to be working out of DC. And we're going to pull up our map and hit Z. If you're on PC, it's Z. I don't know what it is on the consoles and stuff. And we're just going to pull up our global settings and you'll see difficulty. You're just going to put it on challenging if it wasn't. If that's too hard for you, or if it's too easy for you, switch it. We want to try to do it so you're not struggling to fight with enemies and you can just push through not non-stop and just shred through anything. Because if we're just taking our time and going slow and playing on heroic, but we're just because we want the sweet loot, but we're not really getting anywhere level-wise, it's really not worth it. We're just trying to level up fast. We can worry about loot and all that fun stuff later. Once you have that challenging set, you're going to want to go to the tab below it. It will say global directives, I believe. And you're just going to make sure all those are turned on. You'll have about 125% XP multiplier. And then you'll just hit confirm whatever button it is. I believe it's F on PC. And then we're good to go. So we're going to be making over twice the experience we would normally, and that's how we're going to get through this season pass within 4 to 6 hours if we're doing everything right. And if we do other things, it may take 10 hours. So you're looking at, you could be done in 2 to 3 days instead of waiting all season or waiting 1-2 weeks, just like last season while all your buddies had Vile and you're sitting here with nothing. There is one addendum though. They changed up some of the global directives that we just found out with the patch notes today. So some of the things that are going to happen, I'm not sure if it's going to affect the way we're going to play. So I'm going to give a couple extra builds just in case we have to do a run and gun. But basically there was a cooldown directive and you could pop a cooldown and you had to wait 15 seconds before you could pop like another skill. So it wasn't that hard. We were going to run turret builds. So it wasn't a problem. We would just pop one and wait 15 seconds and pop another one. Now you can no longer do that. To like reduce your cooldown, you're going to have to go and kill enemies and collect the parts. So I'm not sure if we log in, will we have at least one skill or to use, like if we were using the chem launcher, let's say, will we have at least one charge, or do we have to go and grab our pistol and go kill things? If it's that way, I'm just going to grab a deagle and go farm out like one turret, and then you should be set. But if it ends up just not working, then I would suggest just turn off that directive. It may take maybe another hour, maybe a little less. All right, so the first way that we're going to do to farm XP and level up our Shade Watch is missions. And they're pretty easy. You can do any mission. You can put it on random and farm it, but sometimes they're not fast. And when you're doing them with other people, you know, things happen and we don't always survive. So if we're going to do any mission, I would be doing Lincoln Memorial on heroic, if you can do it on heroic, or do it on challenging. Our time frame is 8 minutes, and I think it was on challenging. It take about 8 minutes and you get about 1 level. So if you can do that in 8 minutes, you'll get 1 level. It's not the fastest way, but it is a way. Also in that area in the West Potomac, if you want to do activities, you can do activities and you get about 250 to 300K for each activity completed. And there's about 10 to 15 activities out there by the Washington Monument all the time. So if you're running duos, that would be a great place to do. You could start one, almost finish it, have your buddy start the other one, and then just kind of keep doing a circle and just pick up your loot when you come back around. It would be a lot easier. And if you do run in groups, do not go more than 2, because more than 2, the scaling kind of gets kind of wonky and it's just takes longer to defeat enemies than it normally would, and that becomes a bigger problem. Now, if activities or missions aren't your cup of tea, you can also grind out control points. Heroic control points, if you can do them under 10 minutes, I would say between 5 and 8 minutes, they're not that bad. You can get quite a good experience. You get about 800,000 XP, so that's one level and 100,000 XP. It's not that bad, but sometimes it takes way too long. I've got stuck on them for like 10 to 15 minutes, and it's just not worth it to me. You also can do challenging control points, and those are much more valuable. I was doing them in under 5 minutes, and the hardest part is if NPCs get stuck in certain areas. Best way I was doing it was just kind of sticking in the starting zones with all the hyenas and stuff. Those ones are really easy to do, and you can just reset on your map. And I did the math. I think you have to do about 120 control points, so that's going to take more than 5 or 6 hours, which sucks, but if that's the way you want to do it, it's not that bad, and it's good loot, except you only get a supply box once, but you'll still be getting loot, all those drops, all that stuff. It's really not that bad of a way to do it, but it's not the best way. The best way is resource convoys. It says it only gives 250 or 300 experience on your UI, but that is incorrect. They actually give, I think it's about 600,000 experience when everything is all said and done. When you get all the experience from killing the NPCs, all of that stuff, and you get a piece of loot at the end. So it's not that bad. It takes about 2 minutes. What you want to do is you'll pull up your map and you'll see the resource convoys going along, and just find the closest one to a safe house. Go there, go do it. I think it's like 2 waves of mobs, and it's like 8 mobs. There's no dogs to deal with, warhounds, machines, anything. They're just like red, a couple elites. There's no names, nothing to deal with all. You can kill them all in 2 minutes. So you do 2 minutes and you get about 5 to 600,000 XP. That's a level, almost a level every 2 minutes. That is ridiculous, and I'm surprised it hasn't been nerfed, and it was like that since the last patch. But luckily, we'll be able to do that. So you do those about every 2 minutes. We'll be done in about 5 or 6 hours doing that way. And the build we're going to be using, well, it's an auto turret build. It's something easy. There's a low skill ceiling. Anybody can use it, and you don't really have to do that much work. You can honestly just watch your TV while you're completing these stuff, and just have to walk to the thing, throw down a turret, put up your drone, and you really don't have to do that much work. You can, but it's not necessary. Now, before we get into the main build that I'll be using, and that I would suggest everyone else be using if you are watching this video for leveling up the season and just leveling up your watch in general, you're going to want all directives on, and you're going to be running on a skill set. But if that happens and it just doesn't work, or it just doesn't vibe with you, you can run a Providence build, which is just an all red build, run and gun, crit, everything. 3-piece Providence set, and you can either get the Soulclaw piece, or the AR piece that gives you 10% damage for either one, depending on whatever you want to use, LMG, whatever it may be. And if you have a Coyote mask, go grab one. You get it for killing Coyote. I think on Heroic, I think it drops, it seems like it drops so much almost every time. And you can buy some Fox Prayer gloves from one of the vendors. I forget which one is selling it, but I think it's Casey. And I would go pick that up from her, and you're going to be golden. You're going to be melting through everything. But the problem is you're going to have to go and pull out your pistol every once in a while to refill on ammo. And I just prefer a skill build because you don't have to worry about all of that stuff. Also, if you were running in duos, one of you guys could run a Vile Mass build with the Eclipse and just spread fire, and another one with the turret build, and you guys could just decimate the whole map. Other than that, we're going to be actually running a skilled turret build, and I'm going to get into that right now and show you that build, so you guys can have your season pass done by lunchtime tomorrow. This build optimally done, you're going to be able to do everything solo. That means solo heroic missions, solo checkpoint 4, heroic, the whole thing. You're just not going to be able to do legendary and all that other high-end stuff. But when you get it right out of the gate, this is something easily farmed. Like, you can go out, go to targeted loot, and farm this thing in 20 minutes, and you're able to do challenging checkpoint 3s, challenging mission solo, and you're able to carry your weight without breaking a sweat at all. Alright, so let's dive right into this build. So we're going off with the technician specialization. You can choose other ones like Demolition. You can probably do it in Firestarter, but it doesn't really matter because we're just doing pure skill damage. That's all we want. A little skill haste, but it doesn't really matter. We want pure skill damage. Technician is great because it's got an extra skill tier, so we could run 5 pieces skill tier and then 1 piece of armor because we're probably going to be running glass cannon, so we might be a little squishy, so little something helps. Or if you just feel like you're too tanky and you want to run some more weapon damage, a red piece, you can take it down that way. The best thing we really want from this tree is the skill damage and that skill tier, and then you can grab whatever else you want, but immediately grab those 2. And then if you're running any directives where you don't have no ammo, the maximum's nice because you can just pop out a turret, pop out drone, whatever it may be. All right, now we're looking into gear sets. So what we're going to be running is 3-piece Mirakami. Is that how you say it? I don't know if that's how you say it, but we're just going to be running skill haste, skill damage, and prioritizing skill damage. Skill haste, not that important, but we really don't have anything else to pick. I'm just going to be running skill haste mods because that's the best thing you can do. Starting tomorrow, it'll be TU11, so you could honestly put an armor on kill or anything in there. Just try to keep your turret and everything under like 20 seconds is ideally. And this is just a starter build, so you can see there's repair skills. We're not going to be repairing anything at all, but it has that skill damage, and the skill duration can't hurt with all the extra things we're going to be rolling into there. And then we're also going to be picking up the 2-piece of the Hannah, and just for that skill damage and that skill haste. Now you can run glass cannon. I prefer glass cannon. It's really the only thing you can do for just a pure skill damage build, so you're going to be a little squishy, but we can offset that in other ways if you feel like it. But you're so far back and you're just taking pop shots just to keep certain buffs up, it's really not that big of an issue. And finally, we got the 1 piece of the Wyvern. Wyvern just great. 1 piece, 10% skill damage. We got the skill damage, the skill haste. We're rocking. That's all we really need to worry about. And just stacks as much skill damage as we can get into this build. All right, so as long as we have all those pieces, it doesn't matter where they go. We just want to make sure we have certain perks in our backpack and in our chest. Make sure you got glass cannon in the chest. It's just 25% extra damage. We're not going to be really pushing or doing anything. Our turrets, our drone is going to be doing everything for us. And then when it comes to the backpack, you have many choices. I'm running combined arms. I would suggest tech support combined arms. You have to just completely always shooting, and tech support, you get a kill with one of your skills and it gives you that 20% damage buff. It's a little less damage, but you can literally just autopilot, just throw your turret up there, let your drone go wild, and just chill out and just wait for it to say, oh, finished. All right, let's go. Off to the next one. Now, if you are feeling like super squishy, you can always go Adrenaline Rush. It's not really a good deal for skill builds, but what I would do is pick up Bloodsucker, and it's just every time you get a kill, you get 10% bonus armor. So it kind of works the same. Sometimes you can just be sitting there and you may have no health because of glass cannon, but you're just full on bonus armor. So it's a nice, easy way to get through everything. I prefer tech support, but I'm using combined arms. That's what I got to deal with. It is what it is. Now for gear wise, ideally you'd want to run 5 because we're running technician, so we have that free skill tier. Ideally you'd want to run 5 yellow pieces and 1 armor piece, but I don't have the 1 armor piece, so I just went around with 6. You'll be fine. You're not really losing anything. Can't really talk, but let's keep going. So you can see I'm just running skill haste and just skill damage. All the way down. That's the only thing I really care about, doing that. And we have our weapons, everything else is modifiers, our backpack, stuff like that. We're just trying to boost our skill damage. And let me tell you, those turrets are going wild and they just destroy everything, just melt. And when you buff them with your weapons, with certain perks and talents, it just goes through the roof, and it's like doing nothing. You can either autopilot and take a little extra time, or you can help and it'll go a little faster. But no matter what, everything is dying. It's just a matter of time. All right, now we get into the fun stuff. Weapons. I am using some name weapons, but you do not have to. But I would highly recommend these talents on the weapons. They are amazingly OP. One more than other. perfectly in sync. It's called in sync on regular weapons, and regular weapons it's 15% skill damage for each. So when you shoot with your gun, your turret gets 15% skill damage, and when they shoot and damage something, your weapon gets 15. So when they're both together, you get double that, and you get 30. With the harmony, you get 40%, which is quite an insane amount. So all you got to do is just keep firing, one shot every 5 seconds. Even with all the directives, like having no ammo, like you can handle doing one shot every 5 seconds. It's really good. And then you honestly don't even need the other weapon, but it's always nice if you need a little extra burst. You have a big tank guy, big heavy, and you just need to get rid of him. You got the surge on the other, and we're just doing headshots grant 25% skill damage for 15 seconds. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get one headshot and then swap over to our harmony and just keep nailing them. And when that drops off, switch over, get one more headshot, and we got that 25% from the surge, and then we also got 40%. The multiplying just starts getting crazy, and you honestly don't even need to use the surge half the time. I don't even use it. I just spam the harmony stats. Mine is decently rolled, but you really don't need anything. All you need is that buff active, and that just like supercharges your drone and your turret, and you just start going out of control. Now, if we're going to be running any mods, like I said, it just depends on the update tomorrow, TU11. Every mod's going to be generic for your backpack, your mask, and your chest. So you could put armor and kill in, or you can just do skill haste. I would just suggest keep those turret cooldowns under 20 seconds, and you should be in the clear. Now, for the other mods, for your skills and stuff, well, you're just going to be running skill haste, and anything that modifies damage, whatever gives you most damage, that's all that really matters. We just care about raw damage. We don't care about status effects. We don't care about anything else, just that raw skill damage. We want to get as much skill damage as we can, and that way our ticks are hitting faster than any bleed or any burn can do in the game right now. And it's a beautiful scene. All right, now we can get into skills. So we're going to be running pretty simple stuff. It's not that hard to use. And if you can click any button on your keyboard, you can handle this build. We're going to be using Assault Turret skill. It's really easy. You just put it down and it just murders everything in place. It's really amazing. You really don't need any mods for any of this, but skill damage, stuff like that, mods, skill haste mods, they do help in the long run. And we're also going to be running the Striker drone. And that little baby just goes around spitting hell everywhere. And you just pop it. Ideally, you want to pop this one like 15-20 seconds before. So they're always like, you never want both of them on cooldown, because with this build, when everything's on cooldown and the NPCs start rushing you, it could be a bad day. You might survive, but usually it ends up being a pretty rough. All right, so the best way we're going to be playing this build, basically playing this rotation for the build, is we're going to want to keep our drone, our turret, you want to always on cooldown, turret always wherever there's a lot of enemies. So if you're doing CP, or a bunch of enemies are going to rush to this door like happens in missions, you're going to want to keep your turret posted up there. And what you're going to be using, you're going to use your harmony or whatever gun that has in sync. Just keep that up, keep that on the enemy, so you always have that extra damage, and it just never stops rolling through. And on the surge, you can basically pop the headshots if you want. You really don't need it, but just pop. If you're having trouble, there's a big tank rushing you, pull out the surge, pop a headshot, and just keep railing him with the harmony, and you should be good to go. I really never have any trouble, and honestly, if I feel like I'm going to be trouble, just plop that turret right next to you, and nothing will hurt you or harm you ever again. Now, since this was a starter build, we're going to want to build into this, and we already got the harmony and the surge. Those are guns that you would like to have and try building towards for this build to be optimal. Like I said, it can't go into legendaries, but it can go damn near close. What I would do, the next step I would take, would just get rid of this Murakami and just switch out 3-piece of the hardwired. Basically hardwired because we have that skill haste and we have skill damage. Repair skills we don't really care about, but it's just all that extra skill haste. We're going to have extra skill damage, and we're just going to be pumping out even more. Just that extra bit of damage does wonders, and we'll have a lot better rolls. And just make sure you don't use any gear sets, the green gear sets, on your chest or your backpack, because that's just not good. You're not gonna be able to run glass cannon, and we're not using the 4-piece at all, so it doesn't affect us. So try to go for tech support, combined arms for max damage, tech support for laziness, and just always run glass cannon unless something changes with TU11. But I think glass cannon is just going to stay there for skill builds. But we will see. And that's it for the build, guys. If you like it, let me know. If you see something, make it better. You can change it easier. But all this stuff can be farmed in like 20 minutes, guys. So you should be able to do this very easily. So if you've been struggling with doing heroics, challenging anything, it doesn't matter your skill level, this can be a perfect build for you. You're gonna be able to go out there and get all the gear you need, and you can figure out where I want to be, what I want to do, what build I want to go. Do I want to be running gun, or do I actually love these skill builds? But I will see you guys next time. You have a great day, and I hope you enjoy the new season.